The views and opinions
and otherwise wisecrack remarks
in this podcast
are solely those
of our highly caffeinated hosts.
They do not represent the opinions
of Fairchild Air Force Base leadership,
the 92nd Public Affairs Office,
or the United States Air Force.
Any reference to commercial products, companies, or services does not imply federal endorsement.
You've been warned.
Just hang on 1 second. I got to check the boom.
Come on!
17 contact, boom interphone.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
All right, Team Fairchild, welcome back. I am Staff Sergeant Benjamin W. Stratton.
I'm Captain David A. Liapis,
your host for
The Boom.
This week on The Boom, we'll talk about Fairchild happenings, including Winter Sports Day, Spokane events, retirement options, new SRB options, Brave Airmen, and the importance of rolling your socks and shirts. So stay tuned. A lot of great things happening today on
The Boom.
Fairchild happenings. Happening right now is Winter Sports Day or Olympics or something like that. So
yeah, winter, my foot. It's like supposed to be 65 degrees and sunny today.
Yeah, I've got green grass and all that rain. That was awesome. Anyway, so people are mowing their lawns and apparently also playing racquetball, relays, tug of war, and the captain's favorite,
disc golf.
Or there's a cardboard boat race. Everyone loved to see everyone fall in the water because they made a boat that absorbs water. Come on. Who does that?
Well, you only get 2 rolls of duct tape, so you got to use it judiciously.
Well, my bet's on CE.
So after you're done enjoying Winter Sports Day and getting all showered up and hang out with your family, you can head over to the fun spot at 6 o'clock tonight. You can be sure to catch Annie with all her amazing songs and antics. And then tomorrow you can check out the new Night at the Museum movie at 3 p.m. These are free and they are both rated PG. Popcorn will be available for purchase. Call the Fun Spot for more information at 247-2422.
Also up is Spring Break Camp registration. Current school-age program families can register now through March 27th, and open registration begins March 23rd through March 27th. Call the Youth Center at 247-5601 for more information. Now we're on to our discussion topics of the day. Our first story of the day includes a veteran proposes clean military retirement alternative, and this is from Military Times. For most service members, military pay and benefits is an emotional issue, especially when talk turns to cutting military compensation, as it has in Washington recent years. But it's also an economic issue, particularly for the long view that takes retirement into account, says Tim Kaine, a former Air Force officer turned research fellow at Stanford's Hoover Institution.
Do they work on vacuum cleaners there?
You know, I think he got fired from Kirby, and now he's working at Hoover.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
But from Kane's perspective, he says the military system has been faltering for years and needs fixing, and he's got a proposed alternative. It's a hard word for some people. So Kane thinks service members who've served on leave for 15, 12, 10, and even 5 years, Kane served for 5 years himself, should
So
have
there's a little bit of selfish motivation behind
it
this.
could very well be. He says they should have legal claim to some sort of retirement. As it stands now, other than a few incentives at 15, it's 20 or bust. In this Military Times interview, Kane says there should be a lower cliff. It may not be as generous, and maybe the amount that's contributed increases as the years go up, but it still shouldn't be all or nothing at 20. What do you think, Captain? Should we have lower tiers for retirement?
I think that the 20 years is actually a pretty good thing for a number of reasons. It helps retain the people through the ranks that we need them at as they get to technical and master sergeant and senior master sergeant. I mean, it gives incentive for people to hang around. I do think that there should be some benefits that you get maybe at the 10-year mark and then maybe some more at the 15-year mark. So I do kind of like the tiered approach, but I definitely think, when you look at the civilian sector, where else can you work for 20 years and get full benefit full retirement benefits like you can in the military?
You could be a U.S. Senator.
That's right. You serve one term and you get benefits for life, right?
And better than the military.
Man, I'm in the wrong line of work here.
Anyway, politics aside, I wouldn't mind retiring at 15, honestly. But then again, what's another 5 years? Is it worth it? I want to be a family-oriented husband and father, and and really grow our family beyond the little corgi we've got. But I also love what I do in the Air Force. My current enlistment will bring me up to 10 years, and that's everyone's big decision point.
That is. Once you break that 10-year threshold, it's you got to know.
Is it 20 or bust? Who knows? In my opinion, God's got a sense of humor, and he'll throw us anywhere he wants us. For that matter, the Air Force has a great sense of humor too, and they'll throw you anywhere that they need you. Right, Captain?
That is true. That is true. So, speaking of money and benefits, there was a recent article that came out showing that the Air Force has reinstituted a number of jobs into the Selective Reenlistment Bonus Program. It's gone from 10 jobs to 13 jobs now.
Don't you mean by 13, not to 13?
Yeah, you're right. That's correct. It's up to 23 from 10, so that would be by 13. So if you're a signals intel analyst or a mental health technician, and then there's a lot of maintenance, aircraft maintenance jobs that, especially for like the F-22 and F-35 fifth generation type stuff, that they're looking to give these bonuses to.
Yeah, because those aircraft panned out.
Well, they're working out eventually.
Speaking of aircraft that did pan out, the F-15, well,
this one didn't pan out.
Ish. I mean, the F-15, not this one in particular, but according to the Air Force, the tiny imperfections on an F-15's nose caused the October crash last year.
Of an F-15 in England.
Right in England. Right, in England. I don't do the accent.
Don't try.
Yeah, the F-15 was destroyed at a loss of more than $44 million. But the reason? There was a gap between the radome body and the cap.
That's the nose of the aircraft.
So anyway, this gap was about 3/16 of an inch of sealant extruding from the section, creating an, quote, uneven aerodynamic surface. An imperfection like this is consistent with wind tunnel tests that found it would cause a high enough yaw rate to create an aircraft spin, like on, what was that movie?
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Or Tom Cruise thought he was a pilot.
He
but
was.
yeah, so
He was awesome.
So for those who don't know what yaw is, it's where the aircraft, the nose moves to the left or to the right. And so this tiny imperfection, this 3/16 of an inch chunk of sealant, they're saying is what caused this aircraft to go into this condition when it was put into a high angle of attack, which is where they pitch the nose up at certain speeds and aerodynamics and all this stuff that I don't understand because I'm not a pilot. But in any case, it caused this thing to go into a flat spin. And so with this,
You're in the Air Force and you're not a pilot?
it's true. Not all of us are pilots. Some of us fly other things like rolly chairs. But in any case, so the point of this story and why we brought this up is you go to basic training or officer training school, however you came into the service, and they stress attention to detail, and they have us rolling socks and rolling shirts and picking lint and doing all these little things, and they always told us, these minor details can, save a life or, whatever. And this right here,
How to save a life.
please don't.
I'll leave
Stick
that
to your
to the fray.
stick to your day job. So anyway, this illustrates why attention to detail is so important, and it's so easy to get complacent sometimes. And I remember when I was not a crew chief, I was an electrical and environmental specialist, but I spent a lot of time around crew chiefs. But
You're a maintainer.
But it's difficult when you work on these aircraft every single day, and you see them every single day, and you see all their little flaws, and you see them fly with these different things. And I mean, who would think 3/16 of an inch of sealant is not going to cause this aircraft to crash? I mean, who would have thought that would have been a contributing factor? So speaking of aircraft maintenance, and particularly electrical and environmental system specialists, there was one who was from Royal Air Force, Lakenheath, England. He was deployed to Spain last January when an F-16, Greek F-16 crashed during an exercise there. I don't know if you guys remember that story. And 9 French airmen were killed when this happened, and it would have possibly been 12 had Staff Sergeant Gregory Suarez not intervened. This 492nd Aircraft Maintenance Unit specialist was working on an aircraft, and he heard a noise, and he looked on the other side of the plane he was working on, and he says, I just saw a wall of flames just from one side to the other of the ramp, which was just a huge wall of fire. So my first instinct was, I started to turn and run. And then I kind of thought it over pretty quick, and I was thinking there were people there. And so as the flames spread, Suarez said ejection seats and ammunition were going off, and large fire extinguishers for the airplanes were exploding and were flying all over the place. I can't even imagine this scene. It's like a war zone. And what does this guy do? He sees those people in there, and instead of turning around and running and saving his own tail, he goes into that wall of flames, and he ends up saving 3 of these Spanish airmen that were in there, pulling them out with his bare hands.
It's a true American airman.
That is awesome. We don't really have anything to, like some Air Force message to share along with this story, other than that this guy is amazing and did what every airman should do in that situation, and that's put your life on the line for the sake of others.
All right, now it's time for local adventures in 60 seconds. Captain, can you time me? No? Yes?
Hold on. I hit the
Technology.
Button. I hit the button. Yeah, technology
At least
on
your watch works. Look at mine. I had to keep it on, though, because it messes with my equilibrium. Not having my watch just like, I have no balance whatsoever.
That is so weird. Wait, so you're telling me that your 1 ounce watch helps keep your equilibrium straight?
You have no idea how hard it is being tall.
You're right, I don't. I don't have that problem.
I'm 6'3", and he's like 5'3", so...
No, I'm 5'7". 5'6.5", but who's counting?
Local Adventures is up next. I'm going to try it and do it in 60 seconds. We'll see how this goes. Captain, you got me?
Gotcha.
All right, going now. We got the Bighorn Outdoor Adventures Show, bringing the outdoors indoors with over 300 outfitters, guides, and, everything you need to do and know about awesome outdoor stuff. It's happening at the Spokane County Fair and Expo Center, March 20th through 22nd, so visit their website for more information. Next up is the Spokane Chiefs versus the Seattle Thunderbirds. In this conference rivalry, see the fast-paced, hard-hitting action of the Western Hockey League. Visit the Spokane Arena website for more information. And then we got the Felts Field 1927 Air Races exhibit. Spokane Valley's own Felts Field once hosted the popular flying event to the entire nation, so call them at 509-922-4570 or visit the Spokane Valley Heritage Museum website for more information. And that was your local adventures in 60 seconds. Haha, 45 seconds.
Actually, I screwed up when I started it, and I did a little lap thing, so it's really about 53 seconds. So I think that's all we've got for this week's edition of The Boom. The last thing that I have before we go is for Staff Sergeant Ayers, who's busy enjoying Korean food, authentic Korean food over in Korea. He called us and gave us some feedback on our job last week doing The Boom, and one of the things he mentioned was the excessive paper rustling, which, I kind of noticed there was a little bit of that, but just wanted to say, Sergeant Ayers, we really appreciate you and all that you've done for The Boom, and we hope you enjoy your time in Korea. And for the rest of you guys, we hope that you will join us next week to fuel your connection with
The Boom!